Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Now we gonna get it started. This is we here. America is on its deathbed. You got World War III and Jacob's trouble all happening at the same time. This is the period of time we've been waiting on it and prophesying about. So let's get into it. First of all, I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rikah Kadash. Yahweh been the name of the Heavenly Father. Yahweh Shai been the name of His only begotten Son, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Now Yahweh stands for He exists. Yahweh, He exists. Yahweh Shai stands for He delivers. Yahweh Shai, He delivers. Okay, these are the names of salvation. This is what Acts 4 and 12 was talking about. It says there is no other name under heaven. So you can't go with this name that was created in the 1500s, 1600s, and think He's gonna listen to what you got to say. See, because He deals with spirit and truth. See, the spirit and truth of the situation is that these people changed the name. See, He had a Paleo-Hebrew name, and they changed it. And He didn't authorize them to change it. See, by saying it's no other name under heaven given amongst men, see, that's letting you know you can't change that name. Plus, He said, don't take away from the word or add to the word. Now, we're going to start off with Jeremiah 28 and 8. It says, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms. Ancient Babylon was a great kingdom. The Persians and the Greeks, the Romans, these was great kingdoms that the Israelites was prophesying against. It says of war and of evil and of pestilence. See, this war is what's going to have this kingdom to translate to another kingdom. It's always happening by war. Let's get Revelation to see how this kingdom is going to be translated. This is Revelation 18 and 21. It says, and a mighty angel took up a and a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. So see, this is how these kingdoms is translated, through violence and through war. Okay, let's get Yahweh Shai's word. This Matthew 24, and I'm gonna start with 3. It says, as He sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto Him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of your coming and of the end of the world? What's going to be the end of this kingdom that's ruling? Okay, what's going to spark it off? What did Yahweh say in verse 6? He said, ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. It's going to be war popping off that's going to stop this kingdom. That's going to shut this kingdom down. That's going to put an end to the kingdom. He says, see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines. See, in that famine, that's when war pop off, it's always usually a famine, because the men is dedicated to the war. They're not dedicated to growing fruits and being in the field. worried about how we're going to cultivate some food. It says, and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Okay. Now let's get another one. I want this Daniel 2. I think it's in 20 or something. Because the Lord is the one that's changing up this kingdom. See, this Daniel 2 and 21, it says, and he changed the times and the seasons. He removed kings and set up kings. How did he remove kings and set up kings? By war and by violence. It says, he giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealed the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with them. So the secret thing is, how do you know, how do these Israelites know that the kingdom is going to go to another person? That's why Daniel, he was prophesying about Alexander the Great. He was saying that this Greeks, it's going to be a king that come over, that's ruling over the Greeks, and they going to overtake the Persians. First, you got the Babylonians, they going to get invaded by the Persians. So he said, how do these men know these things? Because the Lord revealed the secret that who's going to be the next kingdom that's going to war with this present kingdom and overtake them. So this is what's going on now. We have a kingdom, the American Empire, you see, ran by these, the so-called white men who are coming from the nation of Edom, and they're going to be overtaken. See, and they're not going to be overtaken by nobody else but the Israelites. Just jump down, because he talked about the Lord is going to reveal the secret. Look at verse 44. This is Daniel 2:44. He says, and in the days of these kings shall the Most High of heaven set up a kingdom. How is he going to set up a kingdom? He's going to destroy this kingdom. He's going to call this kingdom to be at war. This is what Joel chapter 3 is talking about. See, it's going to be a major war that pop off. He's going to gather the nations, which he's doing that. They've been gathered over there by the Hormuz Straits or whatever, by Iran, see, Persia. And these same entities is fighting each other. See, in the valley of Jehoshaphat, you had Ammon, the Japanese, Moab, the Chinese, and you had the Edomites, the so-called white men. Now, in the second valley of Jehoshaphat, see, during these last days, during the kingdom of Esau, Edom, now you're going to have the Persians being in the center of attention. And you're going to have the Russians going to be a guard to them. And they're going to be gathering and warring in that area. That's why they sending troops over there to that area. Not because they got some kind of political agenda and all of these other things. It's because this is how the Lord is going to translate the kingdom from the so-called white men and the Edomites unto his chosen peoples. It says, and in the days of these kings shall the Most High of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. See, that's going to be ran by Yahweh Shah Mashiach. It says, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people. See, the 144,000 Israelite kings, see, is going to be running the Israelite kingdom. And the rest of the 1/3, see, that make it through the Jacob's trouble. It says, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. See, it's not going to be, oh, they going to defeat these Edomites, take over the world, then all of a sudden the Edomites is going to come back up into power, and they're going to start fighting the Israelites again. No, that's a lie. They're going to have an everlasting kingdom Because first of all, he's giving them spiritual power. See, and that spiritual power is going to be able to defeat any kingdom that come against them. Now, let me get, let's see, I want to go into this second Esdras 9. Haven't went into that in a while. It says, verse 9, it's second Esdras 9 and 1. It says, and he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told you before, meaning the prophecies, when you see these prophecies starting to come to pass, like Joel chapter 3 and 2, I'm going to gather all nations, Revelation 16 and 14, when I gather all nations. It says, therefore, when, Salaki, verse 2, then you shall understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Okay, now you're going to understand when the Lord is coming. And this is what, when the disciples went to Yahushua and asked him, but when should these things be? What did he do? He went to quote in 2 Esdras 9. He tried to say, Yahushua didn't approve of the Apocrypha. It's not canon, and it's not ordained of the Lord. But why is he quoting it? Because this is what he said to the disciples. He says, Matthew 24, what I just read. He says, then you shall understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. See, nation against nation. And he said earthquakes, pestilence, and all of this stuff. This is what he's quoting straight out of the Apocrypha, man. Verse 4 of 2 Esdras 9, he says, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before you, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world have a beginning and a end, and the end is manifest. Verse 6, even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings in wonder and powerful works, and endings in effects and signs. So it's going to be signs that he done gave his chosen children that's going to reveal what's going on. That's why we take him to Deuteronomy 28. It talks about the signs that's going to be on the Israelites. This Deuteronomy 28 and 46. It says, and they shall be upon you for a sign and a wonder. That's what the scripture says. Signs and wonders, effects and wonders. It says, for a sign and for a wonder, and upon your seed forever. So on the seed of the Israelites, it was going to be a sign. And let's get another sign that he's going to have for the Israelites in these last days. That's going to indicate, see, that he's bringing an end to the kingdom and raising up his nation. This is Ezekiel 37. We're going to start with 10. It says, so I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived and stood upon their feet, an exceedingly great army. See, this is a major sign where you see these descendants of slaves stand up upon their feet and proclaim that they are Israelites. Not only they're going to stand upon their feet, look at what they're going to do. Now, I'm going to read verse 7 to show that these people that are standing on their feet is not some religion, See, he didn't see a vision of religious people. He didn't see a vision of believers stand upon their feet. He didn't see a vision of people who done stole somebody's identity stand upon their feet. See, he saw the real children stand upon their feet. It says, and he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. See, now he gonna break it down. Let me just get some of the key points. Here it is in verse 16, starting at 16, this is Ezekiel 37. And this is the context of Ezekiel 38. See, Ezekiel 38 is after the awakening of the Israelites. See, these Israelis been talking about, they've been stole their identity way back in the 700, I think it was 740, when King Bulan said, we gonna start calling ourselves Israelites. But there was a bunch of Edomites. And that was in Ezekiel 36. Ezekiel 37 is when the Israelites confront those Edomites in Ezekiel 36 and 5 who took the homeland and start calling themselves Israelites. They're going to wake up and confront them. It says, and this is what they're going to do in verse 16 of Ezekiel 37. Moreover, thou son of man, take you one stick. See, one stick, one situation. It says, and write upon it. See, write upon the stick. See, what do you write upon? See, it's right. We don't write upon no sticks, man. We write upon posters, signs. See, that's why he said, I'm gonna have signs in the last days. This is one of the signs. He says, and write upon it for Judah. See, we got Judah. Judah was gonna be the main object, because see, they are the southern tribe, the southern kingdom. They the first and the top nation of the southern kingdom. It says, and for the children of Israel, his companion. That's the rest of the tribes. It says, then another stick, and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and all the house of Israel, his companion. Verse 17, it says, and join them one another into one stick. So not just put Judah on the stick and put Ephraim and and Joseph on 3 separate sticks. No, he said join them all together into one stick. You don't see those small tiny hats over there with no sticks trying to wake up their people, because they've been lying and saying they're the Israelites for a long time. See, they're not trying to wake nobody up, man. It says, and they shall become one in your hand. And when the children of your people shall speak unto you, saying, what thou will you not show us what you mean by these? What do you mean by holding up these signs with all these tribes on them? I'm going to jump down to verse 20. It says, and the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in your hand before their eyes. See what? You don't see these Christian church people with no signs in their hand, man. They're not fulfilling that prophecy because he ain't dealing with them. So where they at with trying to wake up the tribes? None of these people is trying to wake up the tribes because he's not dealing with them. It says, verse 21, and said unto them, thus says the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen. So the heathens and the Gentiles ain't got nothing to do with it. You're not going to have no Gentile talking about, oh, they were righteous. Well, if they were so righteous, where are these Gentiles holding up these signs, trying to wake up the tribes of the Israelites, man? If they were so righteous, you don't see them. See, they somewhere in front of a computer scoffing. it says, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whether they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. See, he's not bringing no freaking Edomites, Moabites, Ammonites, Ishmaelites, Hamites. He's not bringing these people into the land unless, and if we do, they're going to be bringing us gold and silver and coming to be our slave and build up our wall. They're not coming in there to live in a heavenly state, a heavenly condition. You coming as a slave. Now that's the context of Ezekiel 38, where they're talking about the land of Gog and Magog and Persia. See, that's the Israelites gonna be woken up and taken back to their land. See, by the Lord. So they skip over Ezekiel 37 when they go to talking about, oh, Russia is gonna fight against the Israelis. Say Russia ain't fighting against no Israelis. Russia is going to be fighting against the Lord and his men. See, the Lord's going to pause for a second and then go kick they behind. And really, Salakia, the Lord ain't pausing damn second. He the angels going to be gathering up the Israelites, and then the war is going to pop off. But see, he already done assembled these armies already. See, they preparing and they getting geared up for Babylon and Great America, and they gonna be shooting missiles at this place, blowing this place to smithereens. In the midst of them blowing this place up, the Lord is gonna gather his men. Let's let the scriptures talk. This is Zechariah. What is he gonna? When he deliver his men, what is he going to do to them? And look at what it says in verse 7. It gives you the context of him giving the Israelites this power. In Zechariah 12 and 7, it says, and the Yahweh also shall save the tents of Judah first. So before they get this power, before they become like the angel of the Lord, before they become like King David and get this power, he's going to save them first. Beam them up out of Babylon and Great America on chariots. He says, I'm going to jump down to verse 8. It says, and in that day shall Yahweh defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Jerusalem stands for the Israelites. It's not just a place, man. It says, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as the Most High, as the angel of Yahweh before them. Okay, so this is what Ezekiel 38 is going into. Really, Ezekiel 37 and 38. First, he's going to awaken the Israelites, then save them, then give them spiritual powers where they're going to be like the angel of the Lord. Then they're going to go to war with Russia and these other nations. Verse 9, it says, and it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. You see, this is the order of how the situation is going down. Right here in Zechariah 12. Now when you go into this spiritual power, let's get this. It's 1 Corinthians 15 and 50. See, once he saved them, this is how it's going to go down. When he's saving them and giving them this power, this is what Apostle Paul is talking about. This 1 Corinthians 15, starting with verse 51, it says, behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, and we shall all be changed. See, when the the tribes is saved, they're gonna be changed. How? Verse 52. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Okay, that meaning the ones that are alive. What he says, well, that's gonna say that in 1 Thessalonians. But he's saying the dead shall rise also. See, even the dead gonna get risen up, and they gonna change too and be given this power. Verse 53, it says, for this corruptible must put on incorruption. So corruptible means you can die. Somebody can corrupt your body, your flesh. It says, for this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. See, he's gonna give us this power so we can go in and defeat these other nations. So we can have an everlasting kingdom that is never destroyed. Now let's get that first Thessalonians. Apostle Paul, he was telling what was going to happen in multiple places, telling the churches that we gonna be beamed up, man. They're not just gonna rule over us forever. Verse this 1 Thessalonians 4:15. It says, for this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, and with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of the Most High, and the dead in the Mashiach shall rise first. Verse 17, then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. So when he's saving us, he's going to be giving us this spiritual power. He's going to beam us up and give us this spiritual power. Let's get this Isaiah. I think Isaiah 20 and 26. Let's try, you know what, let's try 26 first. 26 and 20. Yep. He says, come, my people, enter thou into your chambers. See, that's when we get beamed up and we're going to be protected in those chariots in the sky. He says, and shut your doors about you. Hide yourself, as it were, for a moment until the indignation be overpassed. So you're going to hide yourself in those chambers. Now let's get another look at these chambers. This is Revelation 15, starting with verse 2. This is the same situation. See, he's going to be beaming us up, and this is how the kingdom is going to be translated. See, America is going to be destroyed by nuclear fire from Russia, Iran, North Korea, China. All these nations is going to team up and blow this place to smithereens. But while they're doing this, the Lord is going to beam up his elect. The angels is going to come and rescue the elect and put them into the chariots, which they call the clouds. But this Revelation 15 giving you a glimpse on how it's going to happen. He says, and I saw, as it were, a sea of glass mingled with fire. So fire is consuming America, and they standing in the sky on the sea of glass, looking down at America being destroyed. It says, and them that had gotten the victory over the beast, and over his image, and over his mark, and over the number of his name, stand on the sea of glass. So they standing on the sea of glass, and they're looking down at America being burnt. They got a movie called ISA or something, and they on the space station, and it's the Russian and it's the American. They on the space station, and they're looking down at the Earth, and on the Earth they seeing all kind of missiles being shot off. But they on the space station with the Russians and the Americans, and they saying, "Oh Lord, the nuclear holocaust done started while we up here in space." It says they gonna stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of the Most High. So they gonna be being changed. See, while they up there being changed, they gonna be looking down at in a moment, in the twinkling of an eye. Apostle Paul said they gonna be changed into immortals, the angel of the Lord, like Zechariah say, like King David and the Most High. See, they gonna have immortal bodies, and they gonna be looking down at America being burnt by nuclear fire, by those missiles that Iran said, we've been waiting for 47 years. We've been preparing. See, we've been stockpiling these missiles for 47 years. See, this Israelis been trying to do the best to come against us. We've been teaming up with China. We've been teaming up with the North Koreans. We've been teaming up with Russia. And we've been waiting for 47, preparing. See, the missiles that we shooting at America, those are old stockpile missiles. Them old missiles, man. We got new missiles that we ain't even tested out yet. Now let's get these missiles that he's talking about out of the scriptures. This is Jeremiah 50:9. It says, "For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country." See, ancient Babylon, only the Persians came against ancient Babylon. It wasn't no assembly of great nations. See, this assembly of great nations is talking about China, Iran, Russia, North Korea, and NATO. All of these peoples over there in the east. See, because Trump saying, "Oh, we want these other nations to pitch in on the situation, because we holding the whole burden by ourselves, but they gonna benefit from the oil situation." See, and the other nations saying, "We don't got nothing to do with that, man." And after a while, they gonna team up with Russia and China and blow this place to smithereens. It says, "And they shall set themselves in array against her. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain." Verse 14, to get to the point. It says, "Put yourselves in array against Babylon, round about, all ye that bend the bow." See, all of them can buy a nuclear missile from Russia, man. They can get nuclear warheads from Russia. And like the Chinese say, man, we got missiles that America can't defeat. We got hydrogen bombs we can put on a missile. This is what the Chinese military leader is saying. He's saying, we not worried about no America, man. It says, "All that bend the bow, shoot at her. Spare no arrows, for she has sinned against Yahweh." See, he gonna get all these people with nuclear missiles. Tell Russia, pass out your missiles, man. Iran, North Korea, pass out your missiles to all your friends and your buddies, because we shooting all of them at America. Every last one of them. See, we gonna blow her to smithereens. They bunkers in under the ground. That ain't gonna matter. They can't hide. See, they gonna crawl under the ground, think they gonna get away. It says, I want to jump down to 42 because that's another one. But no, let's get 16 because this is what some of these people gonna be smart, man. They not gonna sit here and be stupid and stay in America. See, that's why they trying to shut down the airport. Let's shut the government down, shut down the airport so nobody can get away. Well, really, it's the Lord too. So you should have got away when you had a chance. This Jeremiah 50 and 16, it says, cut off the sword from Babylon. So these swords, because the sword just represents somebody that's putting a seed in the ground and going to bring forth fruit, bring forth food where you can eat. And it's really a worker. It says, cut off the sword from Babylon and him that handled the sickle in the time of harvest. So the jobs pretty much in Babylon, the job increase, the unemployment or the employment and the creation of jobs is nothing, man. The percentage ain't went nowhere. It's the same situation. He said since 2001, I think, this thing ain't changed. They ain't created no job. It says, for fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn everyone to his people. So they saying, hey man, we don't got nothing to do with America. Y'all keep all that drama with Iran to y'allself. We gonna take ourselves out of it. You fight out them Iranians by yourself, man. That's what the other nations is saying. It says, for fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn everyone to his people, and they shall flee everyone to his own land. See, they saying we stand in our land. We ain't got nothing to do with these Americans and all that drama. Trump running his mouth. See, he cocky, he saying whatever. Let him and his military and them stupid Americans that's gonna follow his behind and join the military and stay up in America and let them drag them up into war through a draft or some crap. See, let them deal with it. Now let me jump down to real quick. Let's get a verse out of that. Talking about that pride. See, Trump running his mouth on a high level, man. Here it is in verse 30. It says, this verse is Jeremiah 50 and 31. Behold, I am against you, O you most proud, says the Lord Yahweh of armies. For your day is come. See, that's what these Negroes in the hood have said. Your day gonna come. Don't worry about it. Your day gonna come. It says, for your day is come, the time that I will visit you. Verse 32. And the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall rise him up. See, these jokers saying, oh man, I ain't got nothing done. They're gonna start a war, and I'm hoping that they start a war so I can get on my feet and live the American dream. See, I was just about to live the American dream and they're gonna start a war. See, that's the mind of these foolish people, man. Not knowing on the other side we can have a glorious kingdom. He says, and the most proud shall stumble and fall. That's Trump. And none shall raise him up. And I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all round about him. See, he running his mouth, and it's going to be a fire coming out the sky, man. You're going to see all kind of missiles flying through the sky. See, talking about what he say? He told the people, he say, we got the greatest nation in the world. We got the greatest military. We don't need any of them. That's what Trump said. Trump bragging big time, man. He said, we got, I got to say that one more time. We got the greatest country in the world. We got the greatest military. We don't need any of them. I wanted to put that thing on repeat and loop that situation. And Trump talking big noise, man. It says, where is it? And this in verse 33 tell you what it's all about. See, it's Jeremiah 50 and 33. It says, thus says Yahweh of armies, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. Ancient Babylon never had the northern kingdom. See, the northern kingdom had left with the Assyrians, and the southern kingdom was in Babylon. Because the king, I think Hezekiah, Zedekiah, he done let these darn Hamite Babylonians come into the treasury, or wherever they kept all the gold. They let them come in there and walk all through the place and see everything. So the Lord says, since you want to bring these heathens up in my temple, man, and up in my treasure house, how about I give it to them and give the whole kingdom to you? And I think he kicked his behind and kicked his children behind too. But anyway, so this Babylon has both northern kingdom and southern kingdom. The ancient Babylon only had one kingdom. So it says they was oppressed together, and all that took them captives, meaning slaves, held them fast. They refused to let them go. See, they refused to let the Israelites go. So now the Lord say, hey man, you nations, load up your weapons. See, load up your missiles that can fly from one end of the earth to the other end. Load them up, get ready to shoot. I don't want you to spare no arrows, man. Don't spare no missiles. I want you to shoot every missile that you got. But see, now he got them stockpiling these missiles. They stockpiling. See, they trying to have every missile that they can. Because when we gonna let them all off at one time, see? And the Lord gonna put a spirit on them to do this. He already prophesied that he gonna put a spirit on them. But let me get 40. This ain't no ancient Babylon. You got these I don't want to call them a name, man, but you got these people who want to quote the Bible and they don't know what they're talking about. This is talking about ancient Babylon. So you're an idiot. This is Jeremiah 50 and 40. It says, as the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighboring cities thereof, says Yahweh, shall no man abide there, neither shall any man dwell therein. And this is not no order. It's just talking about in the spiritual sense where he's going to totally destroy them. No. This Babylon is going to be destroyed like Sodom and Gomorrah because it's ran by the Edomites. The Edomites in Jeremiah 49 is destroyed by like Sodom and Gomorrah. And it don't represent no total destruction, man. It's going to be a literal fire come down and destroy they behind. And then it tells you the fire before that. They're going to shoot arrows. Those arrows are going to have fire in them. They're going to be nuclear missiles. That's what the arrows is. Now let's get right down to it in verse 42. That's verse 40. Showing you what these arrows is going to do. But verse 42 tell you what's going to cause the fire like Sodom and Gomorrah. This Jeremiah 50 and 42, it says, and they shall hold the bow and the lance. They are cruel and will not show mercy. See, those nuclear missiles ain't gonna show no mercy, man. It says, their voice shall roar like the sea, and they shall ride upon horses, every one put in array like a man to the battle against you, O daughter of Babylon. See, he called it daughter of Babylon because this is a spiritual Babylon. This is not talking about ancient Babylon. This is talking about a spiritual Babylon that's going to be totally different. But it's going to be ran, and it's going to be ran by the Edomites. But he's just using this Babylon because Babylon represented the land of confusion. and the Chaldeans represented these elite, rich, elite people that like Epstein. See, they sit around sacrificing babies, drinking blood, raping women and stuff, man. This is the elite people. This is what they doing. So that's why he called it Babylon. He says, let's see here. So he's describing those missiles right there. Now I want to get some more on these missiles. Let's jump to Revelation. Revelations 17. Yeah, he gonna put a spirit on them to stockpile these weapons and to let off their good weapons. That's why Iran, we got better weapons than what we gonna let off. This Revelation 17. I'm gonna get right to the point. 17 and 17. It says, and the Most High shall put it in their hearts to fulfill his will. See, his will is to fulfill those prophecies where this Babylon, this daughter of Babylon, will be destroyed. Let me go into Isaiah. Let's get some more on this daughter of Babylon. It's Isaiah 1, Isaiah 47 and 1. Isaiah 47 and 1, it says, come down and sit in the dust. See, because that dust represents confusion also. It says, O virgin daughter of Babylon. See, America, no other country has dared to attack America. See, now you got these people attacking their bases around their country, but they ain't came over here and touched the land of Babylon. It says, sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldean. It says, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. See, now America is tender and delicate. See, that Pearl Harbor, that was all a setup, man. These Rothschild and all these people set that up. Then you got people saying that even the Nagasaki thing was a whole psyop. But they know how to run psyops with that television, television, telling you a lie. That's what they're telling you. It says, take the millstone and grind milk, uncover the locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Your nakedness shall be uncovered. What's being uncovered? Look at the Epstein regime. See, now we seeing that these politicians, since they blew off JFK's whole mind frame, because he wanted to stop them from collecting up these missiles and all of this crap, and he was trying to buck their operation. See, they done knocked him off, and then they went into major game plan on what to do. Ever since then, these Epstein regime, baby eaters and child sacrifice Satanists with Epstein, they've been taking over the government, man. That's what they AIPAC. Now I don't know when, I forgot what year the AIPAC had started, but they've been lobbying the and when you say lobbying, what they're talking about is you paying politicians to do what you want them to do. You see, that's why they caught Bibi, not a Jew. They caught him on the stage talking about, you see that Cuba, we want to deal with that, or Greenland. He was already making plans on Greenland and Cuba. You see, and saying we can lobby, we gonna lobby for that situation too. So as long as we got the money, we can get these Americans to do whatever we want them to do. All we gotta do is pay they behind, and they'll do whatever we want them to do, man. It says your nakedness shall be uncovered. Yeah, your shame shall be seen. See, that's why in the end of their kingdom, when they finna be destroyed, the Lord has let everything out the bag. See, all these presidents, they're a bunch of Satanists, they're a bunch of child molesting, child sacrificing, blood drinking, vampire. They acting like a bunch of vampires and wolves, man. A bunch of werewolves and wild animals. It says, your shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet you as a man. See, the Lord is not coming back as no man to talk to these people about anything. He's coming back as a powerful spirit that he is, and he's gonna bring his men up to join him, and they're gonna kick these people behind. Now let's go into Jeremiah 51, because he says it verbatim. This Jeremiah 51, I'm gonna start with 19. It says, the portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts, meaning Yahweh of hosts, Yahweh of armies is his name. And Yahweh is the one that's orchestrating these armies. These armies ain't doing what they want to do. See, the Iranian army ain't doing what they want to do. The American army ain't doing what they want to do. You know, when we talk about it, we just giving the news and the report. We just giving the breakdown of what's happening. What part of the prophecy is popping off. See, where we at in prophecy. That's the only reason we bringing up these armies and these certain individuals. But the Lord is controlling everything. He said, look at what he says in 20. He says, you are my battle axe and weapons of war. For with you will I break in pieces the nation, and with you will I destroy kingdoms, and with you will I break in pieces the horse and rider. See, whatever battleship, submarine, fighter, airplane, jet, drone, whatever they got, he gonna destroy they behind. And that's taking me to Revelation, back to Revelation, chapter 2, starting with verse 26. He says, and he that overcometh and keep my works until the end, to him will I give power over the nations, or over the Gentiles, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron. As the vessels of a potter shall they be broken to shivers. See, that's ruling with a rod of iron, man. That's not going to be literal iron. See, they're going to have spiritual power. See, you can't shoot your nuclear missile and hit them. You can't shoot no poison in the air and they all drop dead from poison. No. You can't shoot no electricity, none of that. See, because you know, like when they have these Superman and superhero movies, they'll shoot this electricity, or they'll find some kind of way to defeat the superhero. But see, when he give us spiritual power, there's gonna be no way to defeat us. See, we're gonna have all the elements under our control. See, we're gonna have everything under our control and in our power and in our arsenal. Because we're gonna be like the angel of the Lord who created everything. See? The Lord created all of this matter and electricity and atomic power and nuclear power, all this kind of power. See, the Lord created all that, man. And we're going to have all that in our arsenal, man. That's how we're going to have, that's what that rod of iron is. And when you go into Micah, real quick, when you break down this Micah chapter 4 and 13, Let's get the context of Micah 4 and 13 though. In verse 10. This Micah 4 and 10, it says, be in pain, labor to bring forth, O daughter of Zion, talking about the Israelite, like a woman in travail, for now shall you go forth out of the city, out of Jerusalem, out of your homeland, and thou shalt dwell in the field. That's in South, the west coast of Africa, and all through Europe after the Byzantine Empire, even though they expelled us out of that place. And we all got concentrated down at the west coast of Africa, or in Africa. It says, and thou shalt go even to Babylon. They took us from the west coast of Africa, brought us over here to Babylon. It says, there you shall be delivered. So He's going to deliver us, give us the spiritual power. There Yahweh shall redeem you from the hand of your enemy. So He's going to take us from the hand of our enemy. Jump down to 13. It says, arise and thrust, O daughter of Zion. Now we going to war with this enemy. It says, for I will make your horn iron. You see, now, that's like He said He's going to give us a rod of iron. This iron horn, that's going into, we're going to have so much power, we can shoot power out of our eyes. That's where they get this Cyclops and these, I forget the other superhero, where they were shooting fire out of their eyes. That's how much power we gonna have. Oh, Superman. Superman shoot lasers out of his eyes. He just look at you and fire coming flying out of your eyes. That's the kind of power we gonna have. You ain't gonna be able to put some chemicals or play with radiation. Your radiation weapons and your chemical weapons, your biological weapons, your psychological weapons, none of that crap is gonna work on the Israelites, man. We're gonna have supreme power. It says, look what we're gonna do with that power. It says, for I will make your horn iron, and I will make your hooves brass, and thou shalt beat in pieces many people. See, with that power, that spiritual power, nobody's gonna be able to defeat us. That's how we're gonna have an everlasting kingdom. It says, and I will consecrate your gain unto Yahweh, and their substance unto the Lord of the whole earth. See, they gonna be giving us tributary, like they did Alexander the Great. Everybody gonna be bringing us their gold, their silver. They gonna bring us all of their money. See, they gonna be hoping that we don't come and kick they behind, even though we gonna kick they behind. And let's get that in Zechariah. See, if we gonna have them, we gonna have an assignment for them when they come to Jerusalem. This Zechariah 14 and 14. It says, and Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, and the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great and abundant. Okay, look at jump down to 16. It says, and it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations, see, we not sending nobody to no fiery hell with the devil and the pitchfork. See, that's a lie, man. Nobody's going into that crap. They gonna be on this earth so we can punish they behind. It says that everyone that is left of all the nations which came against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the King, Yahweh of hosts, and to keep the feast of tabernacles. Here go the punishment. Verse 17, it says, and it shall be that whosoever will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem, the Israelites, to worship the King, Yahweh and Yahweh of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. And so that rain goes into, you're gonna have a penalty, man. We gonna be the boss, and you're gonna have to do what we say. See, You're not just gonna be living on earth and having you a wonderful time where you can do whatever you want to do. No, you're gonna be following the rules of the Israelites. You're gonna be bringing us your gold, your silver, your apparel in great abundance. Oh, let's get that to Isaiah, because Isaiah said in a different way. It's Isaiah 60. Isaiah 60. Let's start with verse 11. It says, "And therefore your gates shall be open continually; they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto you the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought." See, the Gentiles gonna be bringing us their gold, silver, everything, man. It says, verse 12, "For the nation and the kingdom that will not serve you shall perish." See, if they don't serve us, you gonna perish. See, it's serve us or die, because you're not gonna buck the system. If we tell you to serve us, you gonna do it, because we immortals, man. That's like you bucking Superman. you gonna buck Superman if you want. It says, those nations shall be utterly wasted. And see, the reason these Edomites gonna be utterly wasted, because they wicked. See, you can't make them straight. You can't do nothing with the Edomites. You can't make them straight. They totally wicked. They got to be utterly wasted, because they gonna keep disobeying the situation, man. Because they was made to be wicked. Let me jump down to verse 16. It's Isaiah 60 and 16. It says, "Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentile, and shall suck the breast of kings." What does that mean? We gonna suck whatever they bring, whatever they have, we gonna get it. That goes along with that Zechariah 14 and 14. Now I'm gonna jump to 61 to get to the point. And verse is 61 and verse 5. It says, "And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks." So when we go back to our land and build houses and vineyards, we gonna have them picking the food out of the vineyard. It says, "And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the alien shall be your plowman and your vine dresser." Okay, they're gonna be in the field working. You're gonna put they behind the work. This Isaiah 61 and 6, it says, "But ye shall be named the priests of Yahweh. Men shall call you the ministers of Yahweh." Yeah. I mean, ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles. See, we're going to be eating the riches of the Gentiles. It says, "And in their glory shall you boast yourselves." So this is what's going to be going on, man. These Gentiles is going to be giving all of their silver, gold, all of their precious situation to the Israelites. Because it's going to be our kingdom. We're going to be in rulership. Let's get that in Revelation. Revelations, I think it says in chapter 1, Revelation, must be in chapter 2, because I could have sworn I've seen it in 2 different places. I'll just get it out of chapter 5. This Revelation 5 and 10. It says, Revelation 5 and 10, it says, and have made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. So we're going to be kings and priests. Well, what do kings do? They reign over other people. See, everybody ain't going to be a king, man. Just a fulfillment of prophecy. This Exodus 19 and 6. It says, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests. See, kings and priests. And a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. The children of Israel is going to be a kingdom of priests. They're going to be the ones like the Levites. See, the Lord didn't give all the Israelites the same job. The Levites had the job of serving the other nation, other tribes, and doing the service of the Most High by being the priests. The other tribes had to give tithes of their crops to the Levites, because the Levites didn't have a land to grow food so they could eat. So the other tribes would give food to the Levites so the Levites can survive. So the Levites was almost like the leaders of the 12 tribes, even though you had Saul and Judah, King David and Solomon later on, and those kings. But at first, it started off with the Levites. And that's how he's doing with the whole human situation. You're going to have the Israelites, and this is what he's been doing in the Garden of Eden. You had the nation of Adam. Adam was not just one person. Adam was a whole nation of people. And out of Adam, out of the nation of Adam, you had Noah. Then you had Shem. Then you had Abraham. It came a bloodline, a chosen line. He's been having a chosen line. Oh, that was just to get the Messiah. No, that's how he's been running the earth from the beginning, and he's gonna keep running the earth that way through the Israelites. Now let's hit this second Esdras. We were talking about the translation of this kingdom. See, this kingdom is on its deathbed. It's out of there. See, because this war is just going to make everything worse. It's going to just keep getting worse and worse. Well, you're going to have, now they're going to try to enslave the whole world with their digital currency, with their digital devices, because they already got everybody sliding the card using the microchip on the debit card. So they're just going to take it to another level and say, put it inside of your body. We want it inside of your body this time. That's all they're going to do. But let me get this second 6 and 9. It says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So the end of the world is the end of the kingdom of the Edomites. Because the Edomites is ruling. When you look at the UN, the UN is the perfect example of how the Edomites is ruling the world. And they so clever, they done deceived the whole world. They got people thinking, oh, we have a United Nations organization. That's a United Nations lie. See, in the United Nations, how you organize it is 5 veto powers. See, 5 nations have veto power in the UN. America, Britain, France, Britain, China, and Russia. 4 of those powers, 4 out out of 5 of those powers are so-called white men. The British are white men. The American, the Russian, the French. That's 4 out of 5 of the veto power in the UN is the so-called white man, which he is Esau, Edom, the red dragon, the red horse, the red beast of Revelation. See, he come out the womb red. The European Union, NATO, see, the European Union and NATO, they all what? European, the so-called white men. This is how he's ruling the world, man. It's not no situation where all the nations gotta say, because when those 5 veto powers, they have the other nations is in the General Assembly. See, they in the General Assembly, but if the General Assembly is saying we want this, if the 5 veto powers say heck no, we ain't dealing with none of that, they got to go with the 5 veto powers. See, so they play games and deceive people. Now let's get real quick. Let's just show how they rule the world. The beast, the red dragon, all of these people, they got control over all the people, man. Look at what the beasts have. The red beast, and because the same beast in Revelation 17 is the same beast in Revelation 13, and that Revelation 13 is the same. The dragon is the same as the beast. See, the red dragon and the red beast, the same thing. Everything red. Now, when you go into verse 7, it's Revelation 13 and 7. It says, "And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given unto him over all kindreds, tongues, and nations." So all the kindreds, tongues, and nations, all kindreds, tongues, and nations is being controlled by the so-called white man. Okay. And like I said, the red horse, the red dragon, the red beast, all of that is talking about the EU and NATO. That's what it is. They keep on talking about the devil and all this crap. No, that ain't who ruled the world. Who ruled the world? Let's get that in Daniel. Let me get Daniel. I'll do Daniel 7 and 23. Because it tells you what this beast is in Revelation 13, Revelation 12, Revelation 17. It tells you who this red horse, red dragon, red beast. It tells you exactly who it is. Now he had 4 beasts. Where is it? Verse this Daniel 7 and 17. "These great beasts which are 4, and 4 kings which shall arise out of the earth." These are going to reign on the earth. These 4 kingdoms. Now we know you had the Babylonians, the Persians, the Greeks, and the Romans. And then here in 23, it says, Daniel 7 and 23, it said, "Thus he said, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and tread it down and break it into pieces." Okay. And the 10 horns out of this 10 kingdom, out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise. So these 10 horns is on the red dragon. 10 horns is on the red beast. See, they are the same situation. And it's talking about 10 kings, which is NATO and the EU, the European Union. They all unified. They try to act like they different than the other ones. You know, y'all the same people. That's why y'all have a union. Now, let's see here. I want to get into that Jacob's trouble. It was a perfect place I was trying to go. Oh, Peter. 1 Peter. It's 1 Peter 2 and 9. Now you can read and see how Peter talked about Jacob's trouble, talk about the great awakening. This 1 Peter 2 and 9, it says, but ye are a chosen generation. That generation goes into race. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye shall show forth the praises of him who have called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Now, how did he call them out of darkness? See, them Israelis over there, he not calling them out of no darkness. They've been exposed to be liars and to be an Edomite. He's calling the Israelites, the descendants of slaves, he's calling them out of darkness. You're not no color. You're not no language. See, you have a forefather that goes back to the Israelites. He says, verse 10, which in time past were not a people. See, now that goes back into that Hosea 1 and 10. When in Hosea, he said he gonna call a people that was not his people, the sons of the living God. Meaning he gonna start giving them back their nationality, which was stolen from they behind during slavery. And that's going into the Great Awakening. Okay. Where is it? Verse 10. He says, but are now the people of the Most High, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. So he's gonna show the Israelites mercy after taking their identity and causing them to live amongst the heathen. And that Ezekiel, I want to go into that Ezekiel 37 again. That Ezekiel 37 gives context to Ezekiel 35, 36, and Ezekiel 38. Because you can't go into Ezekiel 38 not understanding that Ezekiel 37 said it's a great awakening. See, the Persians teaming up with the Russians, that's doing the great awakening. See, and they're gonna go to war after the great awakening and after the deliverance. Because in 37 he said they're gonna go back into their land. Because when you go into Ezekiel 38 and 8, it says, after many days thou shalt be visited, in the latter days thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but it brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. So the Israelites is going to have a great awakening, then they're going to go back to that land. That's when these Russians and these Persians is going to fight the Israelites. I think it say that somewhere. 38. Let me jump down to 23. It's Ezekiel 38 and 23. It says, thus will I magnify myself and sanctify myself, and I will be known in the eyes of many nations, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. Okay. So how is that? Because we gonna be kicking these heathens behind. Verse 16, it say, and thou shalt come up against my people Israel. So that's what he's saying. They gonna come up against the Israelites after they destroy Babylon the Great of America. They're not gonna come up against us right now. See, we gonna destroy, they gonna destroy Babylon the Great America. Then we be in that land. They gonna hear of the fame. Let's jump back. This Ezekiel 37. Okay. Because it say we're gonna be taken out from among the heathen. So the there it is, verse 28. It says, and the heathen shall know that I am Yahweh. The heathen shall know that Yahweh do sanctify Israel when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. So they gonna know, the heathen gonna know, oh, the Israelites done went back to their land. See, the Lord took them back to their land. America's been destroyed, and the Lord done took the Israelites back to that land. Okay, the heathen is still gonna be on the scene. Okay, and then that's why you get Ezekiel 38 and 16. He says, and thou shalt come up against my people Israel as a cloud to cover the land. It shall be in the latter days, and I will bring you against my land, that the heathen may know me, when I shall be sanctified in you, O God, before their eyes. Thus says the Lord Yahweh, are you he of who I have spoken in old times by my servants, the prophets of Israel, which prophesied in those days, many years, that I brought you against them? So who is, good Lord have mercy, who is he talking about is going to be the prophets? Look, he telling you, who he going to be telling, see, when those nations come against the Israelites, once the Lord take them back to their land, then he going to be saying this. Thus says the Lord Yahweh. This is Ezekiel 38 and 17. Thus says the Lord Yahweh, are you he of who I have spoken in old time by my servants, the prophets of Israel? This is who the servants, the prophets is. It's not just some Mama Luke that done went to a, cemetery school, or some kind of Jehovah Wickedness church. See, no, you got to be an Israelite. It says, which prophesied in those days many years, that I have brought you against them. And it shall come to pass at the same time when God shall come against the land of Israel, says the Lord Yahweh, that my fury shall come up in my face. For in my jealousy and the fire of my wrath have I spoken. Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel. Okay? So no, they not finna be in there fighting no Israelis, man. This is talking about the prophets. See, these people don't believe in no prophets, man. They're not even into none of that religious stuff. But they want to grab these scriptures and try to put themselves in there talking about the present land of Israel. No. Ezekiel 37 is the context. It's a great awakening of the Israelites. The Israelites didn't know who they was, and now it's a great awakening that's going to happen. Now they're going to know who they are. See, it's not going to be some situation where this happened in 1948. That way, yeah, they try to say, oh, the Ezekiel 37 happened in 1948. You a 1948 lie. In 1948, you had the Rothschild. What you had, Walter Rothschild, that was being contacted by Balfour, that was being contacted and pretty much persuaded by what's the guy named Theodore Herzl. These people was trying to push the agenda to go back in that land. Had nothing to do with the Lord, had nothing to do with these churches in America. Now, one church with Jehovah Wickedness, Charles Taze Russell. See, he was right along with Theodore Herzl around about the same time, because Theodore Herzl, he started, I'm at 20 minutes, 20%. Theodore Herzl, he started in 1897, and Jehovah Wickedness leader Charles Taze Russell, he started in 1879. Okay, in 1881, we had the Bible Destruction Group. See, that's when they went and trying to start and get that land. But that's about 20 years. So 20 years, you had freaking church peoples in America talking about some the Israelites, the Jewish people is going back into that land. You see, and they was writing letters. Charles Taze Russell, he writing a letter to the Rothschild to go and to take that land. Got up into the ranks and start pushing the agenda. You know, Charles Taze Russell had heard. So because he started preaching, he was a young man in 1879. So he didn't. He probably wasn't on that about the Jewish people going back to the land. He got on it because he heard Theodore Herzl and the Rothschild. See, these people was starting to push it, and they was gonna use him as a so-called Christian Zionist. See, and they all was Masons, man. They was probably making a major plan to go and take that land. That was just, he was just a part of the plan. And the Rothschilds been doing what they've been doing. And so let's get this. It's Micah 2 and verse 1. It says, woe to them that advise iniquity and work evil upon their bed. And that working evil upon their bed, you can take that all the way back to the beginning of the, what you call it, them trying to take that land of the declaration. It says, when the morning is light, the morning is in the beginning, they practice it because it's in the power of their hand. See, they had the power to go and start writing up declarations and take that land. The Rothschild had power in an organization, I think it's called the British Zionist organization, is some kind of British Zionist organization that the Rothschild was going to be giving the letter. See, that Walter Rothschild was going to give the letter to, so they can start pushing the agenda. See, with the British government. Then Woodrow, that what it is, Woodrow Wilson, he was trying to team up with this what was it, the lawyer in the Supreme Court. So this Supreme Court lawyer, he contacted Woodrow Wilson and saying, hey man, we trying to help these Jewish people, these tiny hat peoples, go back into that land. We trying to come up with some plan on how we gonna situation was going on. That's how the land was taken. That wasn't the Lord saying, hey man, my Israelites, I'm going to take them back into their homeland. I'm going to take them out of captivity and bring them to their homeland. No, that was a bunch of government officials saying, we're going to take them and go, tell them to go back to that land. Tell the Palestinians to move over, and we're going to put our peoples in that land. And there was a bunch of Edomites. This Micah 2:2, it says, and they covered fields and take them by violence. See, they were in 1948, they went over there and started to slaughter them people and run them people out of their land. 1948. It says, take them by violence and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage. See, this is what was going on in Ezekiel 36. Ezekiel 36:5, it says, therefore, thus says the Lord of Yahweh, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession, with the joy of all their heart, with the spiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. So they went over there to that land and took over that land, man. And who took over the land? Idumea. That's who the Rothschilds is. That's who the British government. That's who the American government. They are a bunch of Edomites, Red Dragon. And they went over there and took that land. They ain't supposed to be over there. The Lord said he was going to bring them back in that land. Not no Baphomet the declaration. Balfour Declaration. Let's get that Revelation 2:9. Because this goes into it too. He says, in Revelation 2:9 says, I know your works and tribulation and poverty. See, the Israelites would be in tribulation. They would be in poverty. It says, but thou art rich, and I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. See, these are the adversary of the Lord. Satan just means you the adversary of the Lord. See, Satan ain't no fallen angel that's down under the ground with a pitchfork. See, that's a lie. When you go into Isaiah 14, that's talking about a government that fell from power. That's talking about a ruling kingdom that fell from power. Fell from the heavenly state and they fell from power. That's why it says, I'll look on the man. See, we shall look on the man that shook kingdoms. Not on the angel that fell. No, on the man. Then the other one in Ezekiel 28. Yeah, Ezekiel 28 is talking about in the Garden of Eden and all this kind of stuff. That's just giving you an example, man. None of that is talking about no fallen angel. And so, all my battery is going dead. So I'm gonna pretty much end it there. Let me end it with Daniel 7:18. It says, but the saints of the Most High shall take the kingdom. See, we're going to take the kingdom. That he's going to give us spiritual powers. We're going to take the kingdom. It says, and possess the kingdom forever, even forever and ever. See, we're not going to fall out of power and we got to go fight some freaking angels or some mess like that. We're going to take the power from the so-called white man, because they still going to be over there in Russia thinking that they got some power. See, we're not going to totally destroy all the people. And this is Ezekiel 20 gonna go over there and fight these Edomites, man. It says that I will lay my vengeance upon Edom by the hand of my people Israel. Because you always hear somebody saying the vengeance is mine, says the Lord. But He's gonna lay His vengeance on people by the hand of the Israelites. That's what these people not understanding. Yeah, it's His. It's His, so He can tell whoever He wants to put vengeance on whoever He wants. It says, and they shall do in Edom according to my anger and according to my fury, and they shall know my vengeance, says the Lord. Jump down to 17. And I will execute great vengeance upon them with furious rebukes, and they shall know that I am Yahweh when I shall lay my vengeance upon them. That's Isaiah 63. Talks about the vengeance of the Lord. He's coming for the nation of Edom. See, Isaiah 34, saying He's gonna come. He's dropping these bombs, these nuclear missiles on. See, it's gonna be a great slaughter in the land of Babylon the Great, America. A great slaughter. Because when those nuclear missiles get to dropping, you got fallout, the billionaire bunkers. All of that is showing how America is going to be destroyed by nuclear fire. You even got some of these Edomite preachers that'll tell you that it's a nuclear holocaust that's going to destroy this place. And so that's what Revelations 18 and 21 was talking about. America, Babylon shall be destroyed by violence, taken down by violence. Okay? And you got Jeremiah 50 and 51 describing the destruction of Babylon. Jeremiah 40, 49 telling you that the Edomites is going to be running this spiritual Babylon. What else we got? Let's get that Revelation 6 and 15. It's Revelation 6 and 13, I'm sorry. It says, and the stars of heaven shall fall unto the earth. Now them stars is not talking about no stars. This talking about the nuclear missile. Like when you saw our Iranians shooting missiles to the Israelis, you can see those missiles in the sky. It says, even as a fig tree casts her untimely figs when she is shaken by a mighty wind. Okay, I'm gonna jump down to verse 15. It's the kings of the earth and the great men and the rich men and the chief captains and mighty men and every bond and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountain. That's those bunkers, billionaire bunker, fallout with these vaults. It says, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sit on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. See, that's why Revelation 12 and 12 say he knows that he have but a short time. These dragons know that they got a short time because they got radars. They see the ships in the sky. When you go into Luke 21, 24 down to 26, it talks about the men what's coming to the earth, because they can see what's coming through the space station, NASA, battleship radars. So they see the missiles. I mean, they see these UFOs and stuff. They were having it on the news all day, every day. Just a couple of years ago, it was all over the news. They call them IPOs, I think, UFOs, and they call them IPOs or some crap. But they hiding from. It says, fall on us, hide us from the face of him that sit on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? So they know that their day is up, man. And that's why they going to war with Iran. That's why they going along with the Israelis and Bibi not a Jew. See, that's why they going along with all these people, because they know their time is up. See, they probably been trying to go to war with these these people, they say, okay, now we seeing it's time. They know that they have a short time, and that's why they building bunkers. They was spending billions and billions of dollars. Zuckerberg spending $200 billion on a freaking bunker, man. Bill Gates, Bezos, and all these millionaires and trillionaires spending money on a bunker way under the ground. See, why you putting a pool under the ground with food, stored up food? They putting bunkers all in the ground because they know nuclear missiles is coming, man. Now, let me get one more on the missiles. This is Joel chapter 2. Let's get verse 2, Joel 2:1. It says, blow ye the trumpet in Zion, sound an alarm in my holy mountain. See, we've been prophesying about these nuclear missiles for years and decades. It says, let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahweh is come. Now, my pad goes out. But I was getting to that Joel where he was talking about how the in front of these missiles, but behind, am I saying this right? Yeah, in front of it is gonna be like the Garden of Eden, but behind it is gonna be all desolate, because once they hit, it's finished. So this is what we prophesying about. We warning the people. That was Ezekiel 3 and 17. He says, I've set thee to be a watchman unto the house of Israel. So he's telling us to watch the wars that's coming, watch for the destruction that's coming, and warn the people. And that's what we've been doing for decades and years. See? And so this is what it's all about. And so the blood is going to be off of our hands because we came and we warned the people. Now he said if they hear for bad, so we ain't chasing nobody down. He said prophesy whether they will listen or will they not listen. So we just coming to prophesy to win. So we just like Noah ain't went chasing nobody down, man. No, everybody was gonna hear what Noah was talking about, and they was laughing and joking and, oh, Noah, you talking about it's gonna rain and flood the earth? Man, you crazy. See, scoffers, they gonna scoff at the situation because they gonna hear about it. So I'm gonna leave it there. Before my battery go dead, give all praises, glory, honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honor to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. The blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the descendants of slaves scattered around the globe on slave ships and through many captivities. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.